right, so I'm so excited that you're here today. Today we are going to do a lesson on testing soils. So today you're talking about watershed and where it comes from. Well, now we're going to talk about water meets the farm, and we're going to test. You are going to be testing soils today to see which is the best soil to grow any kind of plant. But let's start off with the plant itself, right? So before a plant comes, there has to be some form of seed. And here's my question for you. Inside the seed, is it true? Is there a real baby inside this seed? Talk to your partner. Is there a baby inside the seed? All right. I know you have great thoughts, but the truth is there is a baby inside every seed, and it is called, you can call it a baby, but we can call it an embryo. And inside every seed, there is an embryo. And how that baby comes to life is it needs moisture, some kind of water to get it to grow. But before we get, I'm going to talk about that. Before, in front of you, you have a lima bean, and you are going to remove, I know it sounds crazy, you're going to remove its coat. And inside, for that baby to grow, it needs some moisture, and when it does, it builds and gets stronger, and it pops out of that seed, and the root goes in the ground and the stem comes up. So go ahead and remove your coat and try to find your baby inside that seed. Go ahead and try it. And they do, they love it. Oh, thank you. All right, that's awesome, isn't it? So you could go ahead and just leave your baby there, and we're gonna move on. So now, this is what we're gonna talk about today. You are gonna test out 3 different soils. One of them is sand. In cup number 1 in front of you, you have a sand. In cup number 2, you have something called, it's a clayish soil, so there's clay. And in cup number 3 is something that is called silt. And we mixed it with a little loam. These are interesting terms, but it's a different kind of soil. And so if you remember in the story Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, some soils hold lots of water. They get water and they hold it all, and it's just too wet and it would suffocate your baby in the seed. Other soils can't hold on to the water and it drains right out, and your seed would dry out because there wasn't enough moisture. And other soils are just right. They're able to hold on to soil, and they're also able to drain. So right now, I'd like you to talk amongst yourself. If you were to take a guess, a hypothesis, as we call it in science, that which one out of these 3, go ahead and feel them, which one do you think would be the best soil to grow your baby in your seed? Time to talk about it? Okay, so this is the procedure. We're going to test it out. We're going to measure how much water is held in each seed. So what you're going to do, in front of you, you have a paper that says your steps. The first step, what you're going to do is you're going to cut on this black line. We're going to make a funnel, and we're going to make a mirror. You're going to cut on the black line. Be careful. If you cut straight across nicely, you're going to stick that in, back in your bottle. And for each of these, you're going to do 3. You're going to number 1, 2, and 3. So with your Sharpie on the bottle, I would number 1, 2, and 3. And you will cut the top of each of those. I'll just show you one for right now because you get the idea, right? It's okay. So once you have your bottle, this is bottle number 1, you're going to take a coffee filter and you're going to put it inside. And on your paper there it says number 1 is going to be filled with which kind of soil, and number 1 happens to be the sand. You'll push it down. Please try not to make a hole in there. You'll go to your bucket that says sand, because that's in bucket number 1. You'll take the shovel. Sorry, I'll bring it over here. You'll take this shovel and fill it with sand all the way to the top. And you'll do that with each of the soils. Number 1 was sand, number 2 was a clayish soil, and number 3 is a loam, which is kind of a mixture of everything. Once it's filled, there's also a lot of sand. Let's see. We don't really need to pat it down. Then you're gonna fill up one of these with a pitcher, 150 milligrams of water. 150. But you could do them all one at a time, or you could, with your partners, you could do all of them at one time. So you will pour that in the top slowly, and we're gonna see how much water drains to the bottom, and we're gonna measure that. We're gonna go ahead and measure. That didn't happen before. So you will do that with all three of the soils, and you'll give it a couple minutes, and we could wait a couple minutes. And then after that couple minutes is finished, you'll take out what you have, and you could throw that piece away. For this video, after 2 minutes, more would drain. Then you take out the funnel top, and we can pour it back in the cup, and we're gonna measure how much water went through to the bottom, saturated to the bottom, and then we'll write the amount on your paper right here, how much was left. And so this one just happens to be 100, in the sand, 100 milliliters went saturated through. And so I would write that, and then I would test out each of the other soils also. And you will have, at the end, there's a conclusion, which were you correct on your guess, not correct, and it's always okay not to be correct. That's what science is all about, is testing and trying it out, and which one is the good soil. So we know the reason we do this is that we know when we plant our future babies, our future seeds, that we want soil that is able to absorb water, but not too much water and not too little water.
Done?